Alright guys, so what we're going to do today is a comparison here. Apples and oranges in a way. This is going to be a DeWalt prosumer line of drills versus a more consumer-based Ridgid combo set. They can be had at different prices, but right now, as it stands, you can get the Ridgid set with the half-inch drill and the driver for $199, and that actually includes the radio as well. On the XR line, the DeWalt drill and driver, you're looking at about $299, so there's a $100 difference there. Obviously with sales and stuff like that, you can get the prices adjusted a little bit. We're going to look at these individually and also as a set. So we'll start first with the DeWalt drill. This is one of the newest drills that they have. It is a hammer drill. It's compact. It's a little bit longer than the Ridgid, and that's obviously because it has the hammer function. It is lighter though than the Ridgid. I've been using the Ridgids for about a year now, and I wanted to get into brushless technology just to see how much of a difference it would make. This is DeWalt's brushless. Both the combo and this combo are brushless, and we're just going to see how much of a difference it makes, and it does make a difference in runtime. Number one, in the Ridgids you're running 18 volts, and with the DeWalts I'm running 20 volts and getting 2 amp hours out of that battery versus 1.5 on the Ridgid. Alright, so the model number on the DeWalt is going to be the DCD 795. It has an MSRP of $169. It is an XR half-inch drill, and like I said, it's a compact drill. It's a good price. I mean, the only downside is that it doesn't come with a handle. You get a handle with the Ridgid, but it's not even a hammer drill. But the hammer drill doesn't come with a handle. Whatever. The strengths on this drill are going to be that it is a brushless motor, which means that there's no brushes that are going to be causing excessive friction on the shaft inside turning. It actually floats in there, and the electronic magnetic field is created on the outside of that, so that ends up causing less heat and less parasitic loss. You know, it's going to give you really good power. I mean, it really pulls pretty good. The 2 amp battery is also a big plus, so you get 33% more power than a standard 1.5 amp hour. Like I said, it's a polished look. It has good build quality. I think it's slightly better than the Ridgid. You know, it's build quality, functionality, and it's lighter. Also, you get the LED that turns on for 20 seconds anytime you activate the trigger. It's also very helpful. And you have a metal chuck on here that's knurled, so it gives you some grip. Now let's talk about some weaknesses. The weaknesses include that the battery pack finally has a fuel gauge, but it's only 3 LED indicators, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was well done. I mean, you're looking at on the Ridgid many more, but we'll get into that in a minute. The brake, there's 2 speeds to this, obviously. You got the fast speed and you have the slow speed. So right now we're in fast speed. You'll notice that the brake doesn't engage very well when it goes to stop. It makes a kind of nasty noise. Now that may just break in, but I've noticed that about DeWalt's before. You can see when it's in 1, it's fine, but when you go into 2, nice nasty clicking sound. You don't get that in the Ridgid. Also, you only get a 3-year warranty with this. With the Ridgids, you're going to get a lifetime warranty. So that you know, batteries and stuff, I understand that they want to sell tools. They don't want you buying one tool and being fine with it for the rest of your life. But at the same time, you know, it's peace of mind. The body of the drill is also not as protected as well as the Ridgid. The Ridgid definitely has more protection on it. So if you were to drop this, I think you'd be more likely to damage your drill than if you had the Ridgid. Also, that includes the battery, which also doesn't really have any protection on it whatsoever, especially on the bottom. It's not even rubberized at all, so you're going to scratch that up pretty fast. The battery itself fits kind of loosely. I try to get this in the camera here, but you can move it around while it's installed. Also, if you accidentally click that at some point, you can accidentally just have the battery slide out. Now, we'll get into the Ridgid and why they have a better design as far as that goes in a minute. That's pretty much it. I mean, other than that, it is a very good drill. I mean, with either drill, you're going to be very happy. I don't think you're going to be unhappy with either one of these. But like I said, good feel. So now let's get over to the Ridgid. It's heavier. It's a nice drill though. It has an MSRP of $169 as well, but it does come with the handle that goes on top here. It's the R86008 model. It's a nice drill. I mean, it's well built. Not as polished as the DeWalt, but it's a nice drill. You're still getting LED function. Lifetime warranty, and Ridgid has done a great job in implementing the fact that their batteries work across the line. Your old NiCad batteries will work on this drill, so that was smart of them in that aspect. So especially if you have a warranty on your older batteries and you want to keep your older batteries, you can, because they're all still covered. Now, the other thing we want to talk about is that it has a dual trigger. One is to control the LED, and it also has the delay for 20 seconds, so it's going to let it go for a while. And also, if you squeeze the trigger, it'll also activate it. Now, I want to show you the difference in sound here. It's very solid. You don't hear what you hear on the DeWalt, which is kind of a nasty sound. I don't know. It bothers me. Maybe that'll break in, maybe it won't. But like I said, it's a heavier drill. I didn't get a rating on this as far as how much power it'll put out, but this one will put out 535 inch-pounds. That's not great, but it's not bad either. It's good for what it is. Smaller battery, but this is a rubberized battery, so guess what? Much more protection on it. Also, Ridgid was very smart to change their battery supplier to Samsung. So this is a much better battery. I mean, that's going to put the DeWalt to shame. I forget who makes theirs, but it's definitely not Samsung. That's why I think they back this warranty with a warranty, because their first edition of batteries with lithium ion were awful. They were really bad. But you can see you get a 4-light indicator, and it stays on its own. Just feels much better quality than this one on the DeWalt. This one kind of feels sorry comparison. The grip on this is better, but like I said, the quality, the fit and finish is not quite the DeWalt. But this hex finish definitely gives you better grip than you're going to get on the DeWalt. The DeWalt's a little smoother, and if it gets sweaty, it's more likely to slide out of your hand than your Ridgid is going to be. So it's not all good and dandy. Obviously, what doesn't make sense is that hammer drill doesn't come with a handle, but this non-hammer drill does come with one. And actually, it's kind of neat how it fits on there. It just slides on there. It slides off really fast, and you can't even tell it goes on there. That's a really neat feature. You're going to get a plastic half-inch chuck on this. It's a Jacobs chuck, so it's a good chuck and everything, but it's plastic. I mean, it's not going to be up to the same quality. It's going to have much less runtime because it's a standard brushed motor, and you'll see the sparks going on inside because of the friction of the brushes. I mean, honestly, these are actually both the same price on being sold singly. That would put the DeWalt on top just because of that. It's a brushless motor. It has more power, has a hammer feature. That puts the DeWalt on top. So the trigger also is not as polished and smooth, and the clutch selections that you can make are not as smooth as on the DeWalt. The DeWalt definitely moves much nicer and much smoother than the Ridgid does. So that is another one. And yeah, it feels like this one twists. I mean, it really wants to pull away from you, but this doesn't have as much power as this does, and this has more linear power. It doesn't want to run away from you like this one does. you know, that is what it is. This is not an X4 drill, just so you know. This is a Fuego drill. And once again, this is the XR brushless. So that's it for the drills. If I had to choose between a drill and that's all I was buying, it would be DeWalt. DeWalt wins that round. Now, what about on the impact drivers? We have two here, of course. Let's once again probably start with the DeWalt. Okay, so on the DeWalt we have another, obviously brushless. This is an XR line. This is the compact one. This is not the 3-speed. This is a single speed. This is the DCF886. It is rated from 0 to 2800 RPM and 125 foot-pounds of torque. That is nuts for a handheld drill. That's crazy. I didn't even imagine that you could get that kind of power out of it. It is a powerful drill. It has great run life because of the brushless motor, less friction. The head it doesn't get as hot as it would on the Ridgid. It has, of course, a 2 amp battery, just the same, with the same issues where the battery doesn't lock on super tight. It's not, I mean, when the battery's on here, I mean, this is on there tight, but this just feels a little looser and definitely could be knocked loose. Still better fit and finish, you know, not much better, but better. And in the head, you actually have your lights built into the head. Same thing, 20-second delay on it. And let's go to weaknesses. Weaknesses are the same as before with the battery. The gauge is not as good. And then also putting bits in here, not as good as a lot of them. The 3-speed I know has a you can kick it out. You can put it in, but you have to use 2 hands to pull that back out. The Ridgid is definitely on top when it comes to that. So we'll get to that in a second and why the Ridgid's better as far as that goes. We also have the body one, the drill once again is not as protected, so dropping it's going to cause more damage, and also the same thing with the warranty not being as good as the Ridgid. So there's a couple things, but like I said, it's a good drill. The one thing it's not good about this, MSRP on this sucker is $269. That is a big downfall for this sucker. I couldn't imagine spending $269. The 3-speed version, yeah, I would do that, but not on that one. Now let's go over to the Ridgid. For whatever reason, I think this is not loaded right. Usually it just slides in there and just, yeah, there it goes. Anyways, let's start with the Pro. If I take my finger, kicks it right out. That's pretty nice. It has X protection on the head, but you know what? I know why they have this here. They have like a piece of plastic over the top of it. It's actually because this head gets super hot, and that's I think number one, to keep you from burning the crap out of yourself. That's not a super good strength. It's just hiding a problem that they know is there. You get 2 LEDs instead of 3, and they're located here on the lower part of the handle. And it was where you have another trigger as well. Everything else is pretty similar to what you saw on the drill. The power ratings are not as good. It's 0 to 2400 RPM, and it's 3100 impacts per minute. 110 foot-pounds of torque out of this, so you're definitely going to get more torque out of this one. It's lighter, it's nicer, it's more polished, but this one's $159, and this is the X4 drill. This is Ridgid's better drill. Still traditional brushed motor. If I had to pick based on price, I'm going to go with Ridgid on this one. Now, let's look at chargers really quick. Actually, you know what? I have a version of the Ridgid. I don't have the newer version. But you'll see right off the bat, there's a reason why I would say the Ridgid has a better charger. It's a 2 light LED system. Tells you what's going on, and you can hang it to the wall. Now, DeWalt is keeping an older, crappier, I think, just cheap feeling charger. I mean, it has one light that blinks and then gets solid when it's finished charging. I understand it's just a charger, but it doesn't even have mounts to the wall. So for that, definitely Ridgid wins. And then when it also comes to bags, you get a kind of a crappier bag with DeWalt, and Ridgid definitely gives you a more work-oriented bag. So how would I finally call this? Well, if you're talking about the drill and the driver, you're looking at $300 from DeWalt. If you're talking about these two, you're talking $199. And right now you can get it with a radio. So with the lifetime warranty, obviously, depending on your usage, if you're a at-home use person, it's Ridgid all the way. If you are an electrician or someone in line, you're definitely going to want the DeWalt, and that's just because of the power, longer lasting battery. Yeah, that's definitely the way you want to go. Now, how are you going to save some money? Well, Home Depot is a direct competitor with Harbor Freight, and guess what? A lot of times they'll take Harbor Freight's coupon, which is 20% off. So this is a $199 set. I was able to take that coupon in there and get this set for $160 with 20% off, and obviously after taxes it's $175-ish in California. Good deal. You know, that's a good deal. Same thing with the DeWalt set, CPO outlet. I was able to get these on sale with an extra battery for $250 shipped after taxes. That was an extremely good deal. Now, if I had to compare this as $175 versus $250, I'm going with DeWalt. Even though the Ridgid has a lifetime warranty on it, for what I do and what I use it for, I would use DeWalt. And I am a diehard Ridgid fan, and I would keep my Ridgid drills. Just these would be my primary. I wish they would come out with Samsung batteries instead of, like I said, it's a Chinese supplier that supplies the rechargeables, but you know, that is what it is. As far as the Ridgid are all legacy products, meaning that their batteries you can use from the oldest to the newest devices. You can't say that about the DeWalt. DeWalt has been switching their batteries up quite a bit, and I think they finally decided this is the one that they're going to go with, but before that, you know, it took a while for us to get to that point. So based on usage and the way I've been using them, DeWalt is superior for someone who needs longer run times and quicker between usage, but it's not necessarily the better drill. It's just stronger based on what you need it for. So that's what you need to decide what you want to do with it. I'm sorry, I need to get you a model number on that combo. The model number on this one is DCK286D2. And like I said, it's a $299 set at MSRP, but you can find quite a few deals. And I just want to remind everyone, I'm not sponsored, I'm not paid. These are not paid product placements. I'm doing this on my own because I see a lot of people. I mean, when I was shopping around, I didn't see really anything that was helping me as far as deciding what kind of drill to get, especially with the brushless technology. You know, I understand how brushless works. I mean, if you want to, there's plenty of videos that explain why the brushless motor is a better motor, but not everyone makes them the same. I mean, Milwaukee makes a good one. I don't like the feel of the Milwaukee, so I didn't go with it. Makita has one. Their batteries are awful. So, I mean, I don't want to carry the larger battery. I don't need the larger battery. If I have 3 batteries, I should be okay to just keep swapping batteries. So, I'm not worried about getting anything bigger than what is here. So, if you have any questions, go ahead and add them to the bottom of the video, and I'll be sure to answer them as soon as I can.